Hello. The time has come where I finally get to say goodbye to my old panniers. These are about 15 years old. They've served me well, but they're really fiddly to get on and off the bike, especially with my new top 8 rack, which has got like a lower bar and a higher bar, and then just getting my fingers in this thing. It's a right pain. Also, they're not like properly waterproof, as you can see. They're just sort of material. The one advantage these things have got is they're super lightweight. So they're actually really light. And the main reason I'm replacing these bags, it's a number of factors. Number one, ease of use of getting these things on and off. This is a horrible experience. Number two, I wanted ones more waterproof to cope with the Scottish weather. Number three, I'm looking for a little bit more capacity. Although in saying that, this thing, it's quite cavernous actually. So in looking for bags, I was looking for a new bag that was waterproof, had a big capacity, and was also easy to fit on the bike. So I've done a lot of research. I was obviously looking at Ortlieb as the number one brand that kind of sticks out people's names. There was the very large Ortlieb back roller Pro or Plus, whatever name it was, but they may be just a wee bit too big. They were 70 litre capacity for the pair. And the problem is when you get that capacity, you start filling it, and then you've got these two bags on the sides full of stuff. I thought with these, the advertised capacity of these is 50 litres, which is a little bit more manageable. Stop me carrying too much stuff. I'm not sure how much of that capacity is on the extra side pockets, but we'll get into that when we look in the bag. But through a bit of research and reading the reviews and matching my requirements, I came and finally decided on the Vaude Aqua Plus. So we're going to go through this just now. I will switch on to my head torch. Right, so the problem with strapping a GoPro at your head is that you can't see if you're recording or not unless I buy that fancy little watch thing. So I've just spent the last 15-20 minutes talking through me unboxing this thing, and I was maybe not recording anything whatsoever. So I'm going to do it again, but I'll probably talk a lot less nonsense this time, just be a bit quicker. So what I was saying before, it's got nice packaging. One of the features of this thing, it's been made in an environmentally friendly way, so it's PVC free, and they're like a carbon neutral company, so they offset any carbon that's involved in the production of the bags. So here we have the things are well packaged. The little racks they're clicked in using the quick mount system. So quickly go over the features on the back. So they're pulling out sort of three of the key features here. The quick mount release system, QMR 2.0. So this is basically you just pull the handles up to unrelease, you push them on the rack and you push them in, you hear them click. It's a nice solid system, so you've got basically two mounting points, so one was to come loose, you've still got another one held on. You've also got the ability to lock the thing, so there's an example of a padlock there. I think you could also put like a chain through both, like a wire thing, right thickness. So that's useful if you're, say, you're touring and you're sort of nipping in the shops. Someone can't just come and grab the whole bag away. Obviously they can open the bag up, grab something out of it, but it's a bit of a faff and clipping stuff. So that's to stop sort of casual theft. And then this 360-degree bar for adjusting the little, whatever you want to call this thing, the little finger thing that holds the bag against your rack to stop it like swinging out sideways when you're sort of going down hills and not going just sort of straight up and down. So that's pretty useful. And we've got the little key here that they've decided to come up with. I always love these things because no one knows what they're really scored against, but it does make a bit of sense. So the benefits of this one, 4 out of 4 for space, 51 litre capacity, that makes a lot of sense. Waterproof, 4 out of 4, because we're 100% waterproof. Versatility, 3 out of 4, maybe just because they're quite big. You know, you can't strap them on your back, you've got like a side strap instead, so 3 out of 4. And then lightness, 2 out of 4, because they've got pretty big solid back plate. They're not claiming to be light, so it's good that they're honest about that. In terms of activities, travelling, 4 out of 4. Definitely these are, geared towards sort of bicycle touring, I would say, with the larger capacity, the waterproof ability, because you can't control the rain when you're out on a longer tour. You sometimes just have to deal with it. Commuting, 3 out of 4, so they're still good for commuting, but they're probably sort of saying that we're more aimed towards the travelling, touring, bike packing set of people, which is why I bought these for sort of longer tours, North Coast 500 hopefully next year, and shorter overnight stays. The plan being overnight stays, I can fit most of the stuff in these 2 bags without any other sort of bags. And then everyday life 2 out of 4, I don't know what that means, like just use this bag not even on a bike. So that is the stuff on that has been promoted on the packaging. And also they're talking about their thing here, I read this before, handcrafted with pride in Germany. So it's a German company, they're saying they're looking after their staff, they're climate neutral, you know, it's not, you know, it's basically made in the country that the company is from, which is good. It's good to see. I like things, you know, made in their own countries, not outsourcing these things, you know, keep paying the local people, giving local people jobs where the company's from. So it's a larger capacity bag, so as we can see here, it's the roll top. So one clip it to get a feel for it. Now at this point I'm just going to go and look in the mirror and see if my thing's actually still recording. Yes, we have a red light. So large capacity. I'll step back here, you can see the thing is, it's quite wide. So this is going to be pretty just rough sort of estimate. The dimensions will be on the website as well, but there you go, we're seeing like 15-16 centimeters deep, and they're sort of more tall and narrow so that they don't get in the way of your legs, and also that you can put one on either side of the bag. There's not a left and a right thing, so it's not like they've got a feature cutting away for the bike heel, so they basically have to be sort of long and thin. So the sort of width at the bottom is maybe right down the bottom, you can see there it's you know, like 21, 22, but there's a lot of height here. You know, that's like 60 centimeters. Obviously we need to roll this down, but you could, if you were pushing it a little bit and the weather wasn't that bad, maybe just roll over a little bit and then use this thing here, adjust that out to give you the full length of that and clip it in, and you can get a lot of, you know, bigger, longer items in there. And we'll be looking through some of my items, my camping gear, to give you a feel for the kind of stuff that goes in it. So we've also got the feature of the fact that this is the Aqua Plus, and not just the Aqua, is these side bags. So you've got extra capacity in here, so to put things like in your sort of clothes, tools, maybe food, so you stop over, you open this, grab out your sandwiches, whatever, you don't have to unclip the 3 clips to get in the top bag, and also to give you that separation in terms of storage organisation, being able to have, oh yeah, the tools and X or Y live in that side pocket and these other things live in this side pocket. So it's nice to have that separation of areas to keep different things in. So these are dead useful, and these are also waterproof as well. Sometimes you'll have bags that have got waterproof main bits, but there's a side bit that's not waterproof, but the fact that it's all waterproof is pretty cool. So also with me, I've kind of got a lot of sort of camera and battery gear sometimes, you know, that's a big pocket. You can maybe stick a wee drone in there if it's got a small sort of packaging, what's the word, case. And again, these things are all adjustable. I'm not quite sure which way to roll it forward or back, but we'll just clip that up just now. Have a look inside. So we've got a large main pocket. Like I said, it's quite deep, sort of like quite narrow, but deep. And we've got a big bit here. So inside here is the shoulder strap. So the shoulder strap allows you to carry it. So you're nipping in the shops and you don't want to leave it locked on to your rack. You can choose to take this shoulder strap with you. Clip that on. And now what I've read from the various comments on this bag and reviews is that when the shoulder strap is on, they say that this plastic thing here kind of bangs off your leg. You need to try and find a comfy position. Some people have it so that it is the plastic on the outside, but they say it just feels a wee bit wrong walking about this big plastic lump, showing that off to everyone. But I don't think that's too big a deal if you're just carrying it out in the wilderness. No one's really going to care what it looks like. So it comes with the sizes for 3 different rack widths. So 10.5mm, which is quite standard, is the red. That's the ones that are fitted on it. You've also got 8.5mm white, so thinner rack, and 13mm for thicker racks. Maybe some of these big world touring racks, heavier duty ones. So keep that safe in case you end up changing racks or getting a new bike with a different rack. So yeah, so we've got a big deep side pocket that's straight in and out there, so you could fit paperwork in there. That looks like you'd fit like A4 sized paper. And then there's a little net pocket that doesn't go quite as deep down, just at the top. So that would definitely be useful for your wallet, passport, valuables that you're not sort of needing in and out too much, but want to keep sort of neatly tucked somewhere away from the kind of big main area. So we'll get some stuff in it later. Let's go and clip it on the bike so we can show you how much easier it is. So take off that side strap. And again, the side strap, it's a different convenient thing. It's not too heavy. You can maybe decide to leave that at home if you don't think you're going to need it for your particular trip. I don't think I'll need it all the time, but it's a nice thing to have. And it's not adding much weight considering the bag's already quite heavy. You know, we've gone for like a heavy duty bag here. So let's go to the bike. So I've already had this thing adjusted before. This is super easy to adjust. So I can just turn that. Then I've got the adjustments around here. I can slide this thing around, all the way around, the bottom, the top. So what we'll do is I'll show you how easy it is to adjust when it's on the bike. So I've got the top peak rack. This is the thing I was talking about, that's got the lower bar and the upper bar, so the bag is mounted a little bit lower, so a slightly lower centre of gravity, which is good. You want the weight lower down. So the bag, so we'll show this adjustment. So I'm literally just getting it over the rack, clicking in, boom, you hear the click, you feel that both things have clicked. And because these things here can move left and right like this, what I'll probably do is I will get them out as wide as I can so that those things, it can't slide forward, it can't slide back, and it's supporting the weight on the edges. So as we can see in here, I can, so for example, I'll adjust this all properly later. It depends, I'll see how far I can have this coming forward and not interfering with my heel. I've got quite a long, I forget the name of that measurement there, but there's plenty of room in this bike. So little guy in here, just slide that in. So easy that, it's actually amazingly easy. And I know that these things you kind of adjust once and that's it, but there is something really nice and satisfying about just adjusting it so quick. So we can see that now is grabbing onto the rack really nicely. This rack has got, it's pretty cool the way the shape of that there. So that's kind of going across two sort of the down poles there, giving it a nice grip. It's obviously going to not rattle as much when I've got it loaded full of things. And you can see as well with this rack, it's got a really nice wide bar here so that the plastic is leaning against it, so it's going to be really sturdy. And this gives you an idea of the size and scale with this bike. And we can see as well that it's nice and wide, so once I get this thing packed out, I've got the capacity for quite a lot of stuff. Some people in the comments were saying they might not have bothered getting the plus version with the side bag because the side bags were like sticking out quite a bit and they were going through short alleyways and things and kind of scratching the bags off. I kind of see I do understand that a little bit. Sometimes I've been going through sort of wilderness little single track paths with overgrown sides and the bags are scratching off. And when I first use this bag the first few times, I'll be like, oh no, don't scratch my beautiful bag, but they're going to get scuffed. They're for touring. I'll look after them, but you can't avoid some scratches and scrapes on these things. And reading the reviews, people said these are pretty tough. They've had it scratching off things and not even showing a mark on them. So this is tough material. So that gives you an idea. And then getting them off again, super easy. Just pull this thing up, and that's it, and slide the thing out. So that's, you will not believe how much quicker that is. It takes me minutes getting the other ones on because of this stupid little clip in here is kind of, I can't get my finger on it because of this thing here. That other little adjustment, and it just pulls up. It's a horrendous experience. So like just the experience alone of putting these things on and off, it literally fills me with joy. So again, just put them on, and again, this is like the first time I've been putting these things on. I'll be getting faster and faster. So you slide the bottom bit in first, get the little things over there, and that's it. That I am so happy. That makes me happy how simple that is. It's definitely worth the investing in a good quality bag with a good mechanism. And I like the fact that it's two different clips, so that if one, for example, came loose, you've still got the other one there. And it's a really satisfying click. You can tell that that is on pretty strong. And again, I'll just take this off and show you that basically you can turn this thing here, and that's just going to adjust these things left and right. So I can get these things out to the sides, which will stop the rack moving, rubbing back and forth, and that will maybe stop any kind of damage onto the thing. And my frames, someone's frame was getting rubbed by the bag, maybe because maybe their rack wasn't sticking out as much as that, but this thing is nowhere near the frame. Let me solid. So we'll just check. We're still recording. So this corner here is my little camping corner, so I can just pick up the stuff I need for little micro adventures, little maybe midweek stays over, or going out on a Friday night, getting up on Saturday, or maybe even Friday, Saturday. So this is where I grab my stuff. So because this thing is quite a tall bag, it's quite good because I have my helium UL2, my ultralight tent, although it still weighs about, it's not that light, well I guess it is for a tent, it's about 1.3 kilograms I think, and I've also got like the ground sheet for it as well, which adds a little bit of weight. So it's probably about the similar size to other more heavy tents. They've just got thicker material, so it'll give you an idea in terms of how well this thing fits in. So unclip the sides. So we will stick that in. No problem at all. I mean, look at that. That's just like, that's going right down there. We'll have no problems getting, I think they always say it's like 2 or 3 rolls, so we can roll that down. That tent is in there, no problem whatsoever. Perfect. That's really good because you want to keep your tent dry really, so you can set it up. So what we'll do, I also have my fire maple. So if you know about Jetboil, this is basically the Chinese knockoff Jetboil, a company called Fire Maple. And this one's quite big. It's like 1 litre of water. It's a bit too big for what I actually need. I'm going to change my setup, my stove setup. I've also got the huge big gas bottle because at the time of ordering I couldn't get the smaller one. So you can get the 100 millilitres of gas canisters, which are much smaller. So this is an extreme example of a pretty big stove setup. So that will fit in there. In fact, that actually fits in really nice there next to that. No problem at all. So obviously when you're camping, one of the things, I've got a really big old sleeping bag just now. So at the moment, my sleeping bag, I'm not putting in the panniers. I'm going to order like a sort of down-filled one soon, which will pack down smaller. But I've been using this bag here, a waterproof stuff sack. So I get my sleeping bag in here, roll that thing up, and that straps onto my rack. So I'll have my 2 panniers and my sleeping bag there. But ideally when I get a smaller sleeping bag, the sleeping bag's either going to fit in here or it'll fit in this bag, but probably give me room for some other bits and bobs as well, which means I then can maybe fit all my food in here and not need an extra little backpack for my food. But what we'll do just now is, so in terms of the bare minimum, when you're going to be camping, you're going to have your tent, the sleeping bag, which I've said is on my rack. You're also going to have your sleeping mat and pillow. So I've got this Trekology one. This is actually quite an affordable one on Amazon. I think it's about £40 and it's nice and thick. So it gets quite, I sleep on my side a lot on my front, so it's quite good for side sleepers. Normally you fold it down sort of half like that, but because I know these bags are longer and thinner, I've actually packed it away on purpose more this way so it can kind of come up like that. But depending on how my other panniers packed, I might have it the other way around as well. So you need that. So, and obviously you want to spread your weight between the 2 panniers. So what we'll do is I'll get the other pannier out so we can do a wee simulated load here of all the things I bring. Give me a sec. Right, so at this point, take that out there, we have the tent, we have the ability to cook our dinner. So on the other side, we have my luxury item. It's my Helinox Chair Zero. This cost a fair bit of money, but it delights me every time I use it. The amount of times I've been camping somewhere where there's not really been a great kind of rock to sit on, and been able to sit in this chair. It's small but super comfy. I can sit and I cook my dinner. I can be on this chair for hours. So it's lightweight, so that kind of helps counteract the heaviness of these bags. And I just love having this chair. So we'll put the chair in here, and we'll put my...
I don't know that one.
Uh-oh, confused Alexa.
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
Right, so there we go. We've got the chair, we have the sleeping mat and pillow, I have got my tent, and I have my big stove. Now, obviously I need to take my spare clothes and food and things like that, so I normally put some spare clothes in amongst the sleeping bag and have that in the sleeping bag here. Other things like kind of a rainproof jacket, that can maybe go on the side as well, but in terms of the big ticket items, we've got all them in there. And I can see as well, if I did get a down sleeping bag that can compress down, I could probably actually get that in there, and that would leave me a bit of freedom for what's on the rack, and maybe even, you know, get a load of food, little cans of beer in this thing, and have that on the rack instead, which would be quite nice. So I have this ridiculously large head torch. I don't tend to bring this one, I've got a smaller one. So this is maybe an example of an item that you're going to stick in the side, because you want to sort of, you get to camp late, you don't want to be sort of unrolling all these things like that, so that kind of thing might stick in there. And the wee thing I left through in the kitchen here, I have to go with my fire maple fake jet boil. I have my little fire maple frying pan, which I've used once now, I just got this recently. So that actually, we had it in before in the side pocket quite easily. And because it's a frying pan, there's room for things in there, so to be efficient I could cram some stuff in there, maybe some cooking sauces since it's in the pan to keep some of the food together. That fits in there nice. But let's just start stuffing some other things in. So what I also do is when I take my food, I use this little cool bag, so that becomes larger, and then as I eat all the food and stuff and sort of recycle it on the way back, then I can sort of pack this thing away. So that, again, because this thing's narrow and high, I might be better packing that thing sort of in its more conventional smaller size, so that I can then get the food in the top. So well, imagine that's full of food, stick some stuff in there. So again, other things, I've got my little tiny first aid kit, some plasters, tick remover, little foam foil blanket in case it all gets too much, too cold. I've got my toothpaste, lighter, wipes, antiseptic hand gel, but for now we'll stick all that in the food. But you can see from the size of this bag that those things would all fit in the side. We will, at this point I'm just going to start stuffing some things in. Little travel towel, rope for hanging your stuff up. This is useful when you're cooking, you want some kitchen roll. I've also had little bits of random bits of paper in case I was going to start a fire, crumple it up. We yet to manage to have a fire recently. Toilet roll. And a trowel. I'm going to get one of those little plastic trowels at some point. Let's just stuff that in there. Well, this side here we've only got the tent and the jet boil thing. So tripod chair. I don't normally bother with that. I sometimes take my AeroPress, but for now I might just simplify things, take these little oat latte sachets, so they're obviously quite small now, I'll take them out of there, but let's see what else we've got. So, something to eat, 5-bean cassoulet, we might have some food. So again, let's just imagine we're just going for like an overnight adventure. You can see easily that if I'm wearing most of my clothes, we can get enough food in for like a meal, maybe like a pot meal for just the water. And we've got all our main stuff in there. I can fit like 2-3 little cans of beer in here as well as some food. We've got loads of room. There's our little frying pan I bought. That was quite fun. I bought that in Aldi, I think. And it just fits the little sausages in there, but it's a wee bit small and ridiculous for actually doing much cooking. Waterproof socks. Yeah, there's all kinds of random things in here. The dreaded midgie spray for the midges here. Luckily they're away just now, the head net. So depending on the trip, I take various things. I use a lot of the Ziploc bags. I've got like a really light, cheap frying pan in it. Before I bought that other one, I used this one, and yeah, that was tough getting that thing clean again, but it did the job. It's super light, but it's not great at cooking because it's not got much weight to it. So we can see there though, let us just roll that down, sides in. Good quality clips. Get the top thing there. And again, if it's not, the weather's not wet, you don't need to be so careful about rolling all this thing up. Just as long as it's clamped down so there's no straps that are going to get caught in your bike. You just need to make sure none of your stuff's going to fall out. There you go. So, and then again, this one, we've got the quite tall tent. You know, the poles make the tent a bit taller, but it fits in here absolutely no problem. So there we go, there's our bags. And then it's not too hard to carry them with the handle as well. But like you say, if you're going far, say you're having to lock the bike up and maybe trek up a bit of a hill to camp somewhere that you can't really get a bike up to, you could take the shoulder straps and have them facing out the way so that you're not rubbing the plastic off your thing, and you'd get them there. Not as easy as having it on your backpack, but it's going to take some weight off your arms. So there we go, that is easily able to fit enough stuff to camp, to sleep, some food in there. The sleeping bag will be on my rack in the moment to like a smaller one, but I think I could definitely get the down sleeping bag kind of fitted in this other area here. You can also strap things on the outside as well. So if I had the sleeping bag, it wouldn't necessarily need to go on the rack. It could actually just get strapped on underneath here as long as it was clipped on and it couldn't fall off. So absolutely perfect for my needs of little getaways. And then if I was going on a longer adventure when I need to take more things, although ideally in Scotland when I'm touring, every day I'll be going to get food. The main thing is, I guess, is taking some clothes, but the more you tour, the more you just realise, like, I'm just going to be a little bit mucky for just now. So you don't want to carry too much. The whole thing about bike packing certainly is minimalism. It's just taking the absolute minimum that you need to have a good time and to be safe. So that is basically enough warm clothes, waterproof clothes, and appropriate shelter and comfort to sleep on. But then, you know, don't bring anything you don't need. On every trip that I go on, I normally come back and I look at my bags and there's always something that I didn't use whatsoever. I'm like, do I really need this? So I try not to take that the next time. And then there's always one or two things that I forget that I go, yep, I definitely need that. An example of that is some washing up liquid and a little sponge. Last time I was down in the sea trying to clean the pans with just cold seawater with no spongy thing at all. I had some like tissue which I didn't want to get too wet because it would all fall apart. I got them clean, but it took a bit longer. So definitely next time I'm probably going to get a sponge, and like all these kind of minimalist camper people, I cut it in half so it's smaller. It's make the camping edition. So yeah, a lot of time they sell camping specific stuff and they make it a lot more expensive than normal stuff, but you can normally adapt other things. You don't need to go crazy. Another cool thing as well is I've got a thing called a pump sack, which I never knew until I bought this air mat. Is that it's quite a big, as I said, it's quite thick, so it takes a while to blow up, and you don't want to blow up with your mouth because A, it's quite exhausting, takes a lot of energy out of you, and B, that it puts a lot of moisture in the bag and it can get mould in there. So the pump sack is essentially, it's a stuff sack. I've wrapped it all up. So it's quite a large stuff sack. I can use a stuff sack actually to hold the sleeping bag or your spare clothes or whatever. And how it works is you unravel it all. You can see there it's pretty big. The bottom part here you attach onto the air bed, and then you're outside, you basically gather up air like that. It's actually easier than you think it is, and basically just push down with your body on the bag, puts the air in the thing, and then just basically keep doing that, and about 4 or 5 big ones of these and the thing is pumped up. You've not had to blow in it, you've not had to exhaust yourself. It's quite easy just using your body weight to let the air out. So that is, I'd say if you're going to buy that bigger type of air map, the big thick one, definitely a pump sack is what you would need, or maybe an adapter for your bike pump. So there we go. That is our fairly extended first impressions of the Vaude Aqua Back Plus bags, and I've just got them delivered today and I am definitely impressed with them, and I'm glad that I chose these. I was going crazy online reading so much stuff about all the different bags, and then you read reviews, there's always someone got a problem about something, people have the problems with these side bags, but I can see the value in them definitely. I often have different little things in these sides to have access to, so I think they're excellent. So if you're looking for slightly bigger bags than maybe the sort of standard ones, because you want to carry the majority of your stuff on your 2 panniers, these are definitely going to fit the bill. And next proper tour I go on, I will be able to get a better feel for all the kind of stuff I can fit in it. I think I should order them my sleeping bag soon, just so that's my last unknown parameter really in terms of how small that thing will pack down, because you want to avoid at all costs having a backpack. One thing I've actually got in here somewhere, if I can find it, is a little fold-away backpack, and it's unbelievably small how it tucks away. It's so small I can't even find it. Yeah, it's I've lost it, but it says in there somewhere. But basically it's a backpack that folds down into the side. They say like the size of an apple, it's that small, but it unwraps to maybe like 15, 17 litre capacity bag. So I can take these, cycle up, get a shop nearby to where I'm going to camp, go in, buy my food that I need, like maybe sort of noodle things, put that in the backpack, so I've only just got a backpack on for a short part of the trip, make the food, and then obviously I can crush down the rubbish and stuff. Smaller, take the rubbish away. I won't need the backpack on the way back because there'll be less space needed. Also, this is my latest spork kit, so it's a 6-in-1. You've got this is your spoon, your fork, then you've got your spatula, which is the main reason I got this thing, so I can be turning things over. So I also got the knife edge, and this is a drainer as well. So that's pretty cool. That's Trek Mates. I think there's some kind of glass fibre thing in there to give them a bit of strength and lightweightness. That's pretty light. So even though I've got quite heavy bags, I do try and have some lightweight stuff to compensate a little bit. So there you go. The Vaude Aqua Back Plus, I think that's what they're called. Excellent bags for touring / bike packing, little adventures, big adventures. And because it's part of a set, I know that if I end up getting front panniers, it will be much nicer to get the matching one, so I'll try and get the black Vaude front panniers. I've still got to get a front rack as well though, but again I'm trying to not take too many bags. I know that having bags in the front actually helps distribute the weight, so I don't really want to be too back heavy, cramming loads of stuff on the rack and then going up hills flying off the back. So I will consider getting front rack and bags, but by the time if you add front rack and bags, that adds about 2 kilograms as well in terms of the weight of the rack and the weight of the bags before you put any more stuff in. So it's definitely something to consider, and it's absolutely fine when you're cycling on the flat, but Scotland is very, very hilly, so it'll get me fit having all these extra weight of just the bags on their own. And my bike is steel, it weighs quite a lot, it's about 14 kilograms as it is. So that is me for now. So I've somehow spent 35 minutes of my life talking about two black panniers that are literally just a bag with a main compartment, a front compartment that clips onto a bike. So it's amazing how long you can talk. Hopefully I managed to edit this thing down a little bit. So I'm Ali Burns and it's bye for now. I'm just super excited to be going out and using these, but it's pretty cold and wet and miserable outside. It's actually pouring with rain. So I'm not sure when I'm going to get to use these next. And also my current sleeping bag, like I said, is an old one. It's not very warm. I think I need to get the new sleeping bag before I venture out again. So hopefully shortly after this video is released, there will be another video with me actually using these things in the wild, and I'll be able to give you my more honest opinions on them in use, actually in the wild. It's quite easy to talk about them inside and put things in them and get an impression of it, but until I actually start using them, you know, and get feeling that benefit of the locking system and seeing how they handle over more rough material and bouncing about down the hills, I won't have a full impression of them until then. So I will give you maybe a shorter update next time. So I'm Ali Burns, bye for now.